All right, ladies, welcome back to the show. I'm just gonna talk about the difference between a 25 and a 49 key MIDI keyboard, and just my take on it. I've used both extensively, and I'm a piano player of over 20 years, music production over 10 years. So I think the obvious difference is one has more keys than the other, right? Now, what all does that mean, right? And that's probably the biggest thing. And then also, let me just add, like, I use a 49 key MIDI as my main MIDI. So this is, and there's links to the two MIDIs that I'm going to show you here, but this is the exact MIDI that I use now. And there's definitely a reason why I picked 49 exclusively and not even 61, right? So the biggest difference, obviously, between these two types of MIDIs is, again, the amount of keys, right? Now, what does that mean? So having more keys allows you to play piano, I would say, in a more kind of standard way. As in, like, you're not, like, 25 is so small. In order to kind of like hit certain notes and like certain rhythm, normal like patterns, I would say, you have to switch the octaves. Now, and that can be good and bad. I personally do not like it, but I can still make great melodies with a 25 key MIDI. And it's twofold. On one hand, the 25 key, it can tame the amount of the type of patterns you're using. It can keep you from going just too all over the place and kind of hone what you're doing. Like less can be more. And I feel like that is the case for me with the 49 key MIDI. Like the standard, like a typical piano that you'll find is like a 61 key, but I choose a 49 right now. Like I said, less can be more and less can help you. But let me just kind of let me keep going. Just stay with me here, because there's it's really a lot to it, right? So there's that. There's like, okay, when I'm playing, is this holding me back from making the pattern? And what one thing I don't like in music production is having to stop and fix things and then move. I like the process of music production, and I swear this is something I'm really starting to notice and appreciate the older I get and the more experienced I get. I don't like breaks in the music production workflow, if you will. I like it to just be smooth. So like what I don't want to do is play like say 25 keys, try to hit the 26 key and it's not there. Because 25 really is not a lot. So I'll pull out my MIDI so you can kind of see what I'm talking about a little bit. Like 25 is like playing like God. I put the thing right. I can't fit this on my desk right now because my mic's in the way. Hold on a second. Okay. 25 is like this. You just can't really go up and down a whole lot. It's almost there, actually. It's almost there. It's almost there. Um that was so annoying. I don't know why. But damn, this is actually a good price for right now, man. I would hop on this, guys. Anyways, links in the description. It's almost there, but when I'm playing, I just don't want to stop. Like, does that make sense? Like, with this MIDI, which is the exact MIDI I used to use it for a little over 2 years. With this MIDI, like I said, you'll be playing and then you'll have to switch octaves to hit the next part. And like I said, I just don't like that, especially when playing with melodies, because I feel like melody playing needs to be very just kind of free. I feel like that's when I have the most success. It's not the music theory, it's not the skill even necessarily. It's almost like just like can I be free? You know, can I be free? And that's the biggest. That's one of the biggest differences. The other one is what I just demonstrated, ironically, kind of unintentionally, is the size of the MIDI and how it fits on the desk. So a 25 key, this MIDI if I had this MIDI with me, I would have actually been easy. I could have much more easily placed it on my desk and did a demonstration easily because it takes up so little space. This 49 key, the spacing is good on this, right? But if I'm actually doing music production, I would have to move my mic on my desk. Like, you can kind of take a look at what my desk looks like. It's not super big, right? If I'm doing legitimate music production, I would have to move my mic, because this is like, the mic right now is like in the middle of my desk. I would have to move my mic to the right. Now, it still works. It definitely works at 49. But like I said, if I had just a 25, I could still fit the 25 right here without even having to move my mic. So that's one of the things with MIDI, with music production, is like, you know, that little thing is one thing with music production. And so again, the main thing is it's the size of the MIDI. So not only is it the amount of keys, it's also the size of the MIDI. And this 49 might not work for a lot of desks. Like, my desk is kind of like I would say like a standard size of a desk. It's not super big, not super small. But if I had a smaller desk, which is when I had my 25 key, that was what I had. And I didn't notice it at the time because this was years ago. But I didn't notice at the time. I was like, you know, this MIDI is... I loved this MIDI. I did. I had a great time with this MIDI. I made some great melodies and everything with this MIDI. But like, it fit on my desk super well at the time because I used to use it at work a lot. Because I used to be a mascot, and in between sets, we had almost like a 2.5 to 3 hour break. And I would just sit there and just kind of I would just like make music, and it worked because like I said, I had a small desk, and yeah. So those are the two, in my opinion, the biggest differences. I mean, it almost seems obvious, but I'm telling you, it's like you have to keep that in mind in music production. So if I were to be an at-home producer, I obviously would recommend this one. And I think this one is better if you're traveling. Like, if you're going somewhere or if you have a smaller desk, this is the one for you. If you're like more serious about playing piano and you want to make, I would say, better melodies at home, especially, this is the one you want. This is not a travel MIDI. I wouldn't even take this dang near out of my room. Better yet, freaking my apartment. I'm not taking that thing anywhere. So, yeah, that's the difference. And that's the difference, because these both have different softwares, but that's not really like the fault of the MIDI. Let me know if you guys have any questions about that. I hope I was able to explain that as well as possible. And make sure you again check the links in the description. And thank you guys as always for watching. You know, obviously you could watch any video, and I'm glad you chose this one. And I hope I'm able to help you if you're making a purchasing decision. Thanks again, and peace out.